Kia ora tātou, ko Fraser Greg aho, ko Crefel te maunga, ko Nith te awa, ko McGregor te iwi, kei te reo irarangi o na tangata o Manawatu aho e Mahiana. Thank you all for coming this evening to celebrate a rather auspicious event. What has 5 founders, 50 more trustees, 4.5 managers, and 8 paid staff, and tentatively over 200 volunteer programme makers. 21 years of access radio in Manawatu. And it was more than 21 years ago, 24 by my reckoning, that the planning started for an access radio station in Manawatu in the old Community Services Council offices in Square Edge, with David Lyons and John Thornley the notable names at that time. The trust deed for the Manawatu Access Radio Charitable Trust was signed in March of 1996. And the original founders of that trust, Michael Fowler, Rolf Panny, Claire Pinnell, Elizabeth Cooper, and John Thornley. John's name crops up quite a lot in the history of access radio in Manawatu. He is tramping at the moment, I believe, and sends his apologies. I want to say a few things, and I worry that what I'm going to say is not going to reflect the true appreciation for the wider Manawatu in supporting access radio for 21 years. There have been many, many voices, faces attached to those voices, that have come through the doors of QEC and Broadway over the years. Some of them are no longer with us. And I just want to acknowledge those people as well when I'm saying what I'm saying. I suspect my speech is not going to be that good, but know that my intentions are pure. So 21 years ago today, the transmitter at Setter's Line went live with audio broadcast out of Queen Elizabeth College, testing music, testing microphones, nothing of any great note really, but under the watchful eye of Hilton Reid, Ali Ferguson, and the first manager of the station, Kev Stanton. A big thank you to all of those involved in setting up the station on what was a rather measly New Zealand On Air capital funding budget in order to do so. The first broadcast was tomorrow, 21 years ago, with Ty Williams, one of the names who sadly is no longer with us, presenting the Cook Islands programme, and I believe, Barry, closely followed by you, presenting a neighbourhood support show. Yep, I'm glad that's right. If my history lesson is wrong in any way, please do tell Hugh or Sam, and they can correct it for us moving forward. The successive managers of the station, Susie York, Ian Johnson, he was the point 5. He was appointed to oversee the work of Susie because she was very young. Very quickly it was realised Ian wasn't required, Susie was doing just fine. After that was Terry Casserly, and I know a lot of you in this room will probably remember Terry, but bear in mind that was pretty much 12 years ago, because I have been at the helm for 12 years. The station, the trust has always been the Manawatu Access Radio Charitable Trust. The station itself has gone through many names and incarnations, the representation of which is behind me. Manawatu Sounz became Access 999, became Access Manawatu, and is now Manawatu People's Radio. Carly is here from the Manawatu Standard. She spoke to a few of us earlier in the week. She was asking for notable stories. or standout moments, or program makers that sent shivers down my spine. I couldn't really think of anything, and I still can't. What I think symbolises this station, or represents this station more, is the constant change, the ebb and flow, the continual movement in the programme schedule, with people using this platform as and when the need or opportunity arises. This station over the 21 years has seen hundreds of programmes broadcast, over 70 in the last year alone, covering a huge diversity of cultures, faiths, interests, stories, passions and opinions. The station's a true window to the community, particularly when you take all those 21 years into account. And without the contributions of the programme makers, it simply would not function, it wouldn't be, it wouldn't exist. And so we thank you, and we have a little token of our appreciation to the programme makers that are here tonight. The medium of radio and the positioning of access within it is ever changing. We're proud to offer the terrestrial and the online services to the community, but what was once pioneering is now expected of a radio station, and that brings with it challenges. We need to keep doing new and engaging things to connect programme makers with audiences and get the community to recognise us. So at the rebrand event in July, I talked about a journey. I said I wouldn't say the word journey anymore, but here I am saying journey again. We had a map and a commitment to follow it, and so far so good. Our birthday present came early this year in September with our 2 brand new studios. These have been a game changer for the station, with a dramatic increase in the capacity and ability to cater to even more people in our community. We don't want to get rid of the history though, and I'm proud to announce that Te Manawa are working in the background to take our old broadcast console. It has 21 years of Access Radio DNA in its circuitry, which probably means it should be burnt. But Te Manawa want to take that and perhaps do some sort of interactive display with it, and hold on to something that has facilitated that delivery of voices over the years. We still plan to redevelop the premises in 2019, and we do hope to become more of a hub for the community, a place to hang out and celebrate creativity and community. I want to take the opportunity as well to thank New Zealand On Air for 21 years of support of the station. It's awesome. They've just commissioned a report, very boring, on Access Radio, but it's been very positive for the sector, and changes are afoot, hopefully in the funding amount as well. Also, the Community Access Media Alliance is our national organisation. It used to be called ACAB, the Association of Community Access Broadcasters, not the other thing you see scrawled on walls in graffiti. But they have been truly supportive of the station through its challenges as well, like they are for all. And also the staff of the station. I have a feeling this list is not comprehensive, but it's who I've managed to find. Evelyn Strugnall, I think, was the first staff member after a manager was appointed. Will McGregor, Amy Poore, Janine McCready, Maria King, Doug Wilson, Hugh Dingwall and Sam Gordon. Some of those are still with us today and here tonight. And actually, on that note, where did I put my cell phone? We got a message from Will. And I thought it would be appropriate to read out. Fraser, always good to hear from you, buddy. 21, wow, congratulations NPR for your leading and direction in the sector, and the strongest position the station has ever been. I would have loved to have been there celebrating with you, but the 18,720 kilometres makes this a difficult task. One suspects he has access to Google Earth. I had a quick look over your new website to see the changes. There's certainly been a few. Nice to see some familiar faces still contributing to the station. Equally great to see plenty of new ones too. Pass on my congratulations and regards to everyone. I'll raise a glass to you on the 7th. Love to all, Will. And I did try and get in touch with a lot of other people, but didn't manage to. Now, this is a 21st birthday party. There are traditions that go with 21st birthday parties. One of those is colloquially referred to as a yardie. But we don't sort of condone that sort of behaviour, so we've taken a bit of a liberty. So we have a yard. Everyone gets a yard on the 21st birthday. Your 21st anniversary yard, you can take it away. They're incredibly useful. Be quiet in the cheap seats. Ian, you might be able to use this for some opposition questions. I think everyone will find a use for this, and it is actually a yard. So if you're having to measure anything out, just drop it on the floor, you'll know you have a yard. So take your anniversary yard. And to take the Mickey even more, at some point I'd like to get a photograph of everyone waving them in the air, because then that would be a hail of yards, as opposed to a yard veil. It's only funny when you explain it. So I would like to do that at some point. On a serious note though, we have program makers here, and we have a little token of our appreciation. Even if you're not making a program now, if you have made a program in the past, I want you to come forward, please. Richard will use you as a guinea pig, Square Waves, many, many years ago. A little pin to mark 21 years and being a program maker. So come on, come forward. If you're making a program, Cyan, Ian, Rob, you made one. Michelle, you made one. Ben, you've made one. I think everyone here's made one. Adam, wear them with pride. They're a small thing and a neat thing. There you go, Roxy, a bit of bling for you. Adam, there you go. Michelle, please do. Yeah, thank you, darling. Please do wear them with pride. Renee is in charge of them. She'll make sure that everyone gets one. Muriel, you make sure you get one. Adrian, you get one as well. You've been Renee will get you one. You've been a contributor as well. Renee's got one. Now there's just a couple more things to say and then I'll wrap up, but I would extend the opportunity, because this is all being recorded, if someone wants to come up and say something nice about the station or a memory of 21 years, please do so. So while you think about that, just also note that Sam will have a portable recorder at some point, and he's collecting birthday messages that we can broadcast tomorrow. Also in the slideshow, oh look, there's Susie. In the slideshow, if you recognise anyone, do point it out to Sam or Hugh or myself so that we can collect names to go with the faces. This isn't the only event that is celebrating the history of the station. Dr. Brian Pauling, the godfather of Access Radio in New Zealand, is writing a book and documenting the history of the sector across the network of stations in New Zealand, and so we want to build that history more. Also, when I started in 2007, everyone said, "Have you seen the photo album? Have you seen the photo album?" I've never seen the photo album. That went walkies. So we are missing a lot of our history and we want to bring it back, so we're relying on you and your knowledge. Names to faces, stories to tell, make sure that we document it. So if anyone wants to say a few things, the microphone is yours. Failing that, we'll put some music on and get the networking and fun underway. There is also a cake that we need to do as well. Yeah, go for it, Roxy.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen out there. I'm glad to have Manawatu People's Radio, because I do the Spectrum Disco Party Show, DJ Roxy, and I also operate a disco business. It's called Spectrum Discos, and it gives me the opportunity to get all my music out there, and hopefully you'll be able to enjoy me for some time to come anyway. And yeah, well, thanks for listening to me right now, and enjoy the evening.
Thank you, Roxy. Hilton. Hello. You want to say something? You missed my speech. I did thank you.
Come on, Hilton.
There are witnesses.
Okay. I'm Hilton Reid, my wife Colleen over there. Now, what actually happened, I own the transmission site, to put you in the right picture. What happened many years ago, 23 years ago I think it was, Access Radio in Manawatu wanted to get off the ground with a guy called Rex Lithgow. Now, I helped set that up technically, and Michael Fowler, who I saw photo come up here, he is an accountant and he did the finances for them. And Dave Lyons got hold of us guys and said, "Hey, you've set an access up. what's involved? How many cakes do we sell, etc., etc. Michael Fowler knew that New Zealand On Air would budget it up to $100,000. So he came on board, and it was a big relief for Dave to know he didn't have to sell a whole lot of cakes. And we established Michael established the financial side of it to find the funding, and I did the technical side of it. It was going to be quite expensive for the transmission side to lease transmission from the network people on their sites. So I decided I would set up a site under my company's name to make it more viable from a financial point of view. So that's how I got involved with Access. So I was there right at the beginning. So it's really interesting to see what has happened, how it's expanded, the people involved with it and everything else. It's a good thing. So that's my little bit of history.
Hilton.
I do. Yeah. Howard now, something.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right.
You've been with it from the weekend too?
Word go. And you were in, I think, in The Guardian. There's a photo of you with Kev Stanton
Yes.
by a turntable
Yeah.
just before it went to air. And I think if they have a look back through the archives, they'll see that photo.
Okay.
And this is the guy who used to come in on a Friday afternoon, complain about my old time music. You remember that? And he teed up the, well, we won't say setter's line, right?
Yeah.
You know the place very well.
Yeah.
And we actually set it up with the City Council's help as an emergency station. And we thought we had a real secret because 999 meant something.
Yeah.
Easy to remember. And for radio waves, which is a program we did for overseas listeners through a station that's at the moment under very great threat, and I'd hope the minister that's here tonight might put a word in for them, Radio for the Blind and the Disabled, in Levin, rebroadcast that from Access Radio. We used to send tapes down, and they would rebroadcast that on the shortwave service. And poor old Kev got all these QSL cards, which he knew nothing about.
Yeah. Well,
So this is the guy that started that transmission.
we didn't have computers,
No.
and it was turntables and records and tape recorders.
We had
And
like remember
CDs were just coming in, I think.
we had a CD player
Yeah.
to keep the station alive. It was a 50-stack CD player.
Yeah.
But invariably what happened, it used to jam in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
We even put ads on that, if you remember. So a number of us as volunteers had keys as well as program makers.
Yeah.
And we would go in and free up the CD player and keep it going. So you guys think you got troubles with this modern technology. We had it with an old, it was a bit like a jukebox, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
it was. Yeah.
It was a jukebox that sat, you'll see a photo in one of the old studios that are here. Now in the photos we've got Kev,
Yeah.
and that was the first, in there there's a number of people. Neil Webb is in that photo, Adrian, you might pick on one of them. And I think the other two people who are real key was Dave Lyons, who was the inspiration of the station.
He was the prime mover to start,
Yeah,
wasn't he?
and we went off and did a special presentation for the station. And Dave tells me that he got that inspiration, he nearly died in hospital, and he had this inspiration to set up a radio station, but he had absolutely no idea what he had to do. That's why he would have approached
He
you.
found us guys up in Hawke's Bay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And approached you, and that's how it started. And Hilton kept it all going right from day one.
Yeah.
And there was Kev, Marianne Baker,
Yeah, I remember.
and Dave Lyons used to be in there all the time, and we as volunteers used to open that hell of a gate that was out on by the North Street.
They used to lock it.
Oh, they locked it, yeah, and it had a hell of a lock, and we'd have to go in there and open up the studio, take people's money, and away
Because
we
it was
would
in, it
go.
was in the high school, not where it is now.
No,
The stairs were,
And that was the sign.
and that's the sign, and we managed to get it out of the council to put a sign up because here it was for everyone to find the actual radio station.
Of course, the council were fully informed and that was taken down again.
You're not listening, you two. So this guy here is the key of the transmitter, but he used to,
he's one of the starters too, this guy.
yeah, we did a lot of work, and we pioneered, I think for Radio New Zealand, well, Amateur Radio New Zealand had its 75th birthday. We put up a little FM transmitter, hooked it up, and you'll actually see in one of the photos with Ian Johnson, with a technician who was there from 2ZA from the year gone by. And there's 2 of them in that photo.
Oh,
It was rather incredible.
yeah, interesting.
There you go.
Yeah.
So this is
Carl is looking very interested in you two. Does our chairperson want to say anything? He hinted.
Look, I'd just like to say that I'm really proud to be associated with Access Radio. It's been 14 years now, and I've seen the station in several different guises, and I feel it's under really good leadership, and we've got some wonderful programme makers, and huge support from the community and community funders. And so I'd like to say thank you everyone for coming tonight, and also thanks to New Zealand On Air, we mustn't forget them, and the funders and sponsors. So I should say, is it time to get to and eat a bit more, probably? Thank you.
Just on behalf of Palmerston North City Council, and Peter Gray is here, I don't know if there's anyone else from the council, but this radio station over 21 years has played a very, very important part of the development of the city, and the city has developed a hell of a lot in the 21 years. I was managing the Manawatu Standard for 9 years, so we were sort of opposition. I was newspapers, and then there's radio. But the radio is certainly out doing the newspapers at the moment with the challenges around technology. But just from a city council point of view, it's always good to have the opportunity to talk and be interviewed by the team here about things that are happening in the city, around particularly the community sector. And we have the opportunity as politicians to connect with the community through Manawatu People Radio. But I always like to have the opportunity of doing that, and I know most of my colleagues do, but not of them all. But you know, it's a very important part of the city to have our own radio station network, and long may it continue here in Palmerston North, and look forward to the next 21 years serving the community of Palmerston North and the wider region as well. Well done, Fraser and the team.
Right, does everyone have their singing voices ready? It is a birthday party after all. Don't worry, I'll lead. Loudly and out of tune.
Did you bring the bagpipes for us?
Yeah.
Do a wee wander with this as well. Come on then. Happy
birthday to you.
Yeah.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear, and we are. Happy birthday to you.
Hip hip!
Hooray!
Hip hip!
Hooray!
Hip hip!
Hooray!
Marvellous. Who's getting Margie, you blow out the candles. Come on, chairperson. So, big cheer. And make a wish.
Okay.
Make a wish.
Really quiet, what I say.
Whoa! Everybody. Come on, round of applause.